How's it going, everybody? Gabriel, Santiago here. So this is the Speaking of Harmony podcast, episode 64. All right, today we're going to talk about a specific chord. Actually, specifically about a chord duality, right? A chord that can sort of like portray different functions. And, depending on the situation and the context, you can label this chord differently. It depends on where it's coming from or where it's going to resolve at, right? It's a very interesting chord. These sounds you just heard me playing in the beginning. This is the chord that we're gonna take a look at, right? Before we go into that, if you really like this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell thing notification, right? This is all my social media stuff. I keep up with what I'm doing. If you really want to be in touch with me more, this is the Discord chat channel, so you can get in touch. Basically every day I'm there chatting with people and exchanging information and videos and all that stuff. Also, if you would like to support me, here's my Patreon link in the card over here, and you can see the link here. I have exclusive content for the patrons, right? This video is presented by my patrons, right? So join the team and hang out at Patreon over there. It's been really fun to be making exclusive content to them. So what chord is that I'm talking about? Well, this chord that I use all the time, but in different situations, different scenarios, and I would personally call this chord two different things depending on where it's coming from, right? You can think of this chord as two things. Let me play something for you now, like a very very diatonic, beautiful E major thing. So I was just kind of messing around with this tune by the great Toninho Horta. This is called Manuel Weldas. We're just kind of like, jamming on that sort of some kind of harmony from that song. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. I will leave the song here linked in the description so you can check it out, by the great Toninho Horta. That recording, Pat Metheny is playing on it and soloing, beautiful solo. It's actually one of his favorite solos that he said he liked his own solo on that tune. It's a beautiful song and it's in E major, right? So it's something like that, right? So this chord here. What is this chord? Song go on. You check out the song, but basically I'm talking about this chord here. What is that chord, right? People label this chord differently, but I also do, but in different contexts. Like on this context right here, for me it's clear that this is a E major added ninth with the third on the bass. For me, this is the chord third on the bass, right? So you have a E major with on the bass, right? And then that's F sharp right there, right? You can also put it octave up, so we have this kind of solution, right? Or here, right? There's a way of voicing this chord like this thing that kind of like go merging to this other area that I cover, but not on this video. But on this case, nonetheless, this chord, for me, it's clear. I can put the root on the top here, and I'm really specific about actually putting the root on the top, like here, E in this case, right? This kind of shape, right? Right? For me, it's clear this is an E major. be like super E major E, right? Maybe this is clear that we go win back into E major, right? A, 4. So beautiful. I could be playing this stuff like for hours and hours, just like just so beautiful. And you what? It's great. So for me, this chord is a E major at the 9th with the bass on the 3rd, right? A few people would call this chord, okay, this is a G sharp minor minor 7, right? G sharp minor 7 with a sharp 5, right? Some people call this chord this. And I call this chord this, but not here. And I'll tell you why. Because for me, we're clearly clearly a E major with the 3rd in the bass, and you just added the 9th, right? I don't see that chord being a G sharp minor 7, sharp 5, and I'll tell you when I would consider this chord, this type of chord. But in this particular case, for me, it's really clear that this is a very diatonic in the key of E major. In this case, a 3rd degree, first degree with the the first degree with the first inversion. Yes, all right. It took me a while, but that's the first degree E major with the 3rd on the bass, first inversion, and this chord itself is it has a 9 added to the chord, right? So it's a triad. A 9th added to the chord, right? That's how I would call this chord, right? When would I call this chord the daughter chord, right? The minor 7 sharp 5, right? In different situations. If I would voice this chord like this, you see that the type of harmony that the chord will inform would help me to label the chord. So if I, in a situation like that, a super diatonic, in this case E major, for me it's clear. In a situation like that, I'll totally label this chord E major at the 9th with the 3rd on the bass, right? G sharp. But if I'm in a situation like this, this kind of thing, when I'm clearly ascending with the 5th, right? See that I'm clearly sharpening the 5th. I'm going here, a minor 7 chord, in this case G sharp minor, right? I'll totally label this chord a minor 7 sharp 5 chord, right? Another way that I kind of figure out myself how to label this chord is it's like a scenario that happens when you can substitute this chord for a half diminished chord, right? That happens, and then it's okay. I would probably call this other chord a minor 7 sharp 5 because I can substitute through the minor 7 flat 5, right? So the flat 5 and the sharp 5 are just being swappable here. Then in this case, minor 7, either flat 5 or sharp 5, right? I have a situation like this, right? find a situation like this. See? Like if I have a situation like that, let's say G major, right? Right? This is a G sharp half diminished or G sharp minor flat 5, right? So I can substitute this chord for this one. You see that I played the exact same shape from the other song. But you see how here the context changed drastically, right? I'm coming from this it's E major, but here you see how here we're just speaking with this half diminished chord, right? So in this case here, I would use, if I use this particular voicing, I would probably voice it G sharp minor 7 sharp 5, because I'm swapping the flat 5 with a sharp 5. So any time or every time, if you want, that you find yourself on a half diminished chord progression, either a 2 of something or 6 or whatever situation you find yourself in with a half diminished, know that you can use this chord, you can substitute it, right? So I can do if I do, let's say, a 2/5 of B minor, right? You see, I use C sharp half diminished here, right? 2/5 of the 1, which is B minor in this case. That's our classic C half diminished or C sharp minor 7 flat 5, right? But in this case, I use the sharp 5. See? Right? So I can swap around the flat 5 for the sharp 5. On this case, I will use minor 7 sharp 5, right? In this particular scenario. And I'll show you in a little bit a tune that gets you right in this scenario, actually including the actual root G sharp, you'll see in a bit. But this particular voicing always remind me of a very like quartal kind of harmony. Well, because if you voice this chord this way, right, you have a 4th triad here on the top, right, and you also have a 4th here on the other triad, and then another triad with fourth voicing, right, 4th voicing. So you have a 4th chord like all the way, right, if you voice it this way. Right? But of course, if I don't use my 4th string here and just this, still I have a 4th voicing, right? Of stacked 4th, right? So this sound of the 4th kind of really hint me at that type of voicing, the minor 7 sharp 5, right? I can go stuff like that. Suddenly you have all this, quarto kind of harmony, right? That's very similar to this type of voicing that I really love to use all the time, right? Like this kind of chord. I could make a case to put this kind of voicing there because this voicing like here will take this note and octave up, right? So I'll get this voice I'm talking about, right? But I use this particular type of voicing or this type of chord on a different scenario when I'm like mixing up with this kind of sound, right? This kind of thing, which is what I call the shape, which I probably have other videos talking about that. I mix that with this other type of language, although they're kind of the same thing, right? This, but I always put this particular voicing with the fourth. So I guess my point here is when I use this minor 7 sharp 5, I'm always sort of evoking that fourth, this quarto kind of sound, see? See? And that is different than this other type, right? Which is very diatonic, so you can clearly see the context here. Or right? Right? We can do like, let's say, a sequence of 2 5s, for instance, right? Just sort of this. So right? Just start at F sharp half diminished, right? Going B7, then E half diminished, going to A7, then D half diminished, going to G7, then resolving to C, right? So for each of these half diminished, I also will play around with introducing, the swapping the flat 5 of the chord for the sharp 5, thus having that effect of that chord, right? Actually, past the C. Let me go back there. So. See, that's really cool. So we have this basically just this inner voices moving, the flat 5 moving to the sharp 5. On this case, actually, sharp 5 moving down to flat 5, right? Because I did flat 5, sharp 5, flat 5, sharp 5, flat 5, sharp 5. Right? So you see here is a really practical application of this chord, right? Of the minor 7 sharp 5. Right? That's how we use it when it's sort of like swappable with the half diminished, the minor 7 flat 5. So I use the minor 7 sharp 5. Right? So now let's take a look at this tune that I love. It's Jobim week, right? Antonio Carlos Jobim. And his birthday was a couple of days ago, right? What would have been his birthday. So let's take a look at Insensitive, how insensitive, right? Which, by the way, I recorded, and you can watch it here. Click here in the card. I have a version here. You can check it out. It's also on the comments as well if you want to take a look at the link. So that tune has this particular spot where you can fit both. You can either do one or the other, and that's so cool because that's a, sort of like the Bermuda Triangle, right? When you have this, sort of like a conjunction of things that you can both use, both labels will work probably. So we have this, and right at the beginning you go like a. There you go. Woo, here. This particular chord here. That's the Bermuda Triangle that I'm talking about. So if you follow, maybe the original harmony or something, there will be something like here. There'll be an inversion of of this chord, right? Be the inversion of the fifth. Then, you know, A minor 6. So that would be E major over C sharp, right? That situation I was talking about would be E major with the third in the bass. In this case, you could use the other ninth. And this way, it would be a more like triadic kind of sound, right? And you use that here, right? You can do that. And a bunch of people, when they, you know, they blow over this tune, they think of E major here, right? One of them, Pat Metheny, when he plays this song, he recorded several times in DVDs and stuff. He plays over E major over here, right? Let's explore that other version, the other approach, right? That I personally would use usually when I play this tune. You can check on my version. You see, he already do the diminish, right? Flat 13. So you get things a little tense, already sort of anticipating what's gonna come, right? So I will use this chord, but I'm thinking of this chord. See again the swapping thing that you can do? So if I'm thinking of this chord, F sharp, minor 7, flat 5, I can use G sharp, not F sharp, sorry, G sharp, minor, flat 5, I can use D sharp, minor, sharp 5, like, you see? So I can think of that. I can think of that, and that chord can substitute the other one. So if I'm like playing, you know, blowing over these changes, I'm thinking of half diminished here, right? I'm thinking of B melodic minor here, right? Locrian 9, Locrian 2, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm thinking of this chord like this. So instead of thinking of E major here, right? I can think of B melodic minor or Locrian 9 over G sharp, because this will be a half diminished, right? Instead of playing this, right? I will think of this. The exchange that I was showing you in the exercise, right? So how insensitive is a great tune to test out that. And there's not really a right or wrong approach here. Like both work, right? You should experiment with yourself, both approaches, and see which one you like the most, right? I personally like the second one most, because a lot of people already do that. Major kind of E major thing here, because that's what is in the tune, if I'm not mistaken. So you can use that and kind of take the song a little, you know, a different direction, right, if you will. That's a really cool thing. So this chord has this sort of duality, right, that it can be, you know, like a really E major-ish kind of, right? Super like epic, happy, major, kind of hopeful kind of vibe, right? Super toninho, that Manuel Aldaz song. you can have that, or you can take that into a more, you know, like sort of like darker sounding thing if you think as the substitute for a subdominant chord. So you have, you know, see, those are like the two sounds you can get with this chord. It's a very interesting chord, let alone the third option, which I really didn't talk about, which is this kind of sound, right? Which you can talk about on a different episode, which it takes to a really different place, even different from these two, right? So you dig that? It's a cool chord. You should experiment with it. How about you? What do you think? How will you use this chord? For instance, on How Insensitive, how would you use this chord? Let me know in the comment. Right? I want to hear what would you use, or how, you know, if you played this song already, how do you use that chord? Do you have this half diminished kind of approach here, or you play like an E major kind of thing? This is the inversion. Or have you played this chord not only on this tune but in different situations? You know, this is very Steely Dan-ish, right? There's a lot of stuff on Steely Dan. It's like this kind of fourth voicing like this that you can use as well, and jazz, of course, right? It's all over the place. But I really want to hear from you. What do you think when using these chords? I'm curious now. Right? If you really like that stuff and you think that's, you know, worth following me, please give it a follow on YouTube. Here's my channel information, and you can, you know, just hit the bell notification so you get, you know, to know when there's a new video coming up. And also here's my social media information. You can get connected with me. If you want to get a lesson with me, there is a free lesson available on the link below on the description of the video. You can catch that, right? If you're also interested in this type of chords and Brazilian music and play, you know, this kind of voicings and like, you know, really rhythm and Brazilian stuff, I have a course available. It's called The Art of Brazilian Guitar, which I can also link here in the description of the video. You should check it out. There's a lot of stuff coming out of this course. I'm updating the course all the time with new things. I'm already filming some new content that people really enjoy. If you like this type of music, you dig that. So take a look at that. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next video. Right? See you around.